Welcome to our PL Possibilities series. These videos have been created to assist teachers in improving their Canvas skills for the purposes of teaching and learning. This video is part of the feedback playlist. An overview of the feedback playlist is displayed on the screen. This video is focusing on outcomes-based rubrics and SpeedGrader with a focus on VET outcomes. At the start of every year, outcomes are loaded onto Canvas for your use. Click on the Outcomes from the navigation menu. You can add your own outcome or group of outcomes to your course. You can also import outcomes from other sources. But to ensure that you're using the current year's outcomes, click Find. We're looking for our account standards for the Department of Education. And you'll notice that we have the Australian Curriculum Standards, task criteria, and VET outcomes loaded for you. If you open the folder, you will notice there are multiple folders based on the courses that are available for teachers to use for VET. If we looked at the ICT folder, you'll see that the different course codes are here. If I want to look at these outcomes, you'll notice that we've got all these outcomes already loaded. We can click on one and you can see that we have competent, not yet competent, satisfactory, not yet satisfactory, and withdrawn. If you want to import the entire folder of outcomes, make sure you're at this level and none of these are highlighted. We would then click Import. Click OK, and you'll notice now that we have the ICT 20115 outcomes already loaded. To use these in a course, you can create a rubric for your whole course that you can use at a later date, but you can also open up an assignment and add a rubric to an existing assignment. In here we've got the VET assignment for an example. In previous videos we've talked about how we can actually add content by clicking the Edit button, but for the rubric we can click Plus Rubric. You'll notice that it automatically comes in with Some Rubric as the title. My advice is to actually create your rubric and then give it a meaningful title. We can delete this criterion first, and to add an outcome we click Find Outcome, look for this course and find one of the course outcomes that we would like to put in. Click Import. You'll notice that the outcome has been loaded into the rubric for us. If you'd like to actually unpack that a little bit further, you can add a new criterion that's assignment specific. So the description in this case will just use assessment specific and hit Create Criterion. They come in automatically by full marks or no marks. And so if we want to add additional rubric cells, we just click this plus button and we can actually add a title. In this case, I'll just call it middle. For a rubric, you don't have to have a 5 scale for every criterion. We can actually change that. It is worth noting that you can only add criterion and outcomes one at a time, and they will only appear in the order in which you add them. So if you need to move a rubric outcome, you'll need to delete anything that is underneath it. To add another outcome, we'll click Find Outcome, and I'll click on this one and click Import. And you'll notice that my outcomes are done with a target, my criteria are done without a target. Targeted outcomes will feed through to the DOE markbook, providing that your assignment is set for complete or incomplete. In some cases we don't use a point system, or we don't want to have our students see the point system, so we can click on Remove Points from Rubric. If you don't want to actually have a ticker box or a clickable box for your rubric, you can actually click on this button and it will actually allow you to write free-form comments when assessing students. So it's really a comments-based one. This is useful if you want students just to focus on your comments and not necessarily the rating that you might give them. In this case, I'm going to rename this title the names of my outcomes, just so if I need to use it again, I know exactly what it is. So outcomes 201 and 206, and I'm going to put the year of my outcome. This is particularly important if we actually use outcomes in subsequent years. It gives us a notification, or lets us know just by glancing at it, that we need to remove this rubric and update it for the current 2021 or 2022 outcomes that are loaded at the start of every year. I'm going to click Create Rubric. And now that I've created this rubric, if I need to use it again, I can just find the rubric for a next assignment. If I publish this assignment, my students now have access. If I reload, you'll notice that I now have access to the SpeedGrader. The SpeedGrader is accessible from the markbook, but it's also accessible from the assignment or discussion or a quiz. To access the SpeedGrader, click on the link, and you'll notice that the doc viewer currently has no content because this student has not submitted the assignment, but you'll notice that I can view the rubric we just created. I can't see the entire rubric, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag so I can see all the rubric. If I want to actually make a comment without providing a rating, I can add a comment around that particular outcome. You can do the same for criterion. Comments in this box here means that I'm doing it around the entire assignment. It is worth noting that any comments around a rubric and any ratings around the rubric are assessed around the entire assignment. So if the student resubmits, so for example, you've marked them as not yet satisfactory and they resubmit the work and you update it as satisfactory, the current rubric is what gets saved. If you need to track it from a vet compliance point of view, you might need to recreate the assignment so that resubmissions get done for those students that require it in a separate assignment. And that can be done by duplicating the assignment and only allocating it to the students who have not met the criteria yet. To add a comment to an outcome or a criterion, we just click the comment box, and to give it a mark, in this case I might go satisfactory for both, and I'm going to hit save. You'll notice now that all the additional ratings remove, but if I want to actually change that, I can. So if I click View Rubric again, I can modify it. So I actually think they weren't satisfactory because I found out some more information, or I should have actually gone competent and not yet competent. Students will be able to see any feedback at the time of marking unless you choose to hide the grades from them. Hiding or delaying the posting of grades means that students will get it when you actually make them visible. This can be useful if you want to do your marking in one lot, or you want all students to get the comments at the same time. If you choose not to hide the grades from your students, the assignment marks and your comments will be sent to them immediately. This allows them to have a right of reply, resubmit, or engage in a feedback conversation with you about their work. Thank you for watching this PL Possibilities series video.